Okay, so there's been quite a lot of commentary online about the new BMW M3 electric. I know it's a concept at the moment, but the engine noise you probably heard there, yeah, it's kind of the direction M is heading at the moment. Now, I wanted to do this video because I've seen a lot of M related videos pop up for the older M cars, and it seems to be a resurgence of at least the naturally aspirated ones. So I've done videos of this car before already. There's two which I'll link to in the description below and on the end cards of this video, but just wanted to have a little drive around and talk about this in 2026 and whether I'd recommend anyone to get one, because you can still get these condition wise and everything. You have to keep an eye out because there are a lot of ropey ones out there, but you can still get some decent ones if you know what to look for, and a lot of what to look for I have covered in my previous video, so it's well worth checking that one out. So I'm going to go to one of my favorite roads which I've driven through before and do a little bit of talking about driving dynamics of this. Now, this is the convertible, and online commentary obviously of the convertible is always that, oh, chassis wobble and scuttle shake and all that kind of stuff, and yeah, you do get a little bit of that. It's kind of expected. It's a four-seater two-door convertible, so you kind of expect some of that. But I have in the last year replaced all of the underside bushes, so it is a lot more planted now, and I've gone poly bushes as well, so you do feel it is a lot more tactile on the road, and you do feel a lot of that surface area without bringing in too much noise, so that is good. And the other upshot is the poly bushes were just a bit cheaper than the OEM Lemforder bushes, so it's kind of a no-brainer to do that. Now, the main reason you want to go for the older ones, obviously, if the first few moments of this video weren't evident enough, is the engine. The S54 B32 straight six. Let's go there. It's talk of the town, so no matter what M3 video you watch for the E46, sorry, or the Z4M, it is the engine that people talk about. And this thing revs all the way to, well, my one to 8200 RPM. By default it's 8000 RPM and it'll still generate power to about 7500, but mine with its remap will generate power all the way to 8200 RPM, and it's just a glorious, really linear and smooth power deliveries. So just coming up to the junction now to the entry point to my favorite spot. Well, if like me you've always wanted one, I've had this for 11 years now, and ever since I was a kid running Windows XP, desktop wallpaper was an E46 M3, and when I had the chance to get one as an upgrade from my E46 318 Ci Sport, I figured now's the time, get one. And it has cost a lot, so I'll put another screenshot of my app where I keep a track log of all costs, and it is quite eye-watering. You can't really avoid that. They put the windows down. The loader lorry has turned off. All right, here we go. 2000 RPM. Into second. Third. 5000 RPM. Second gear. 5000 RPM still. 4000 RPM in second. 7. We've got some cyclists who are going to slow down. Okay, we're safe. Oh, I had to shut up there because concentrating on driving. But yes, this is why you probably want, almost certainly want, the older naturally aspirated M3s. Now mine is the manual, and the throttle response is just, it's just on the dime. And start having a Z3 there. Yeah, I was shifting at 7,500 RPM, just over 8,000 RPM, and it's just a glorious linear sound that you're not going to get in any other. I mean, this S54 sounds quite unique. E46 M3 doesn't sound like this. The later M3s don't sound like this. The 4.2 V8 has its own unique signature, but that's a V8. This has that straight six character to it, and the exhaust note coupled in. So I have got the Eventuri carbon airbox or the intake kit that has its own resonance to it. So the ITBs around about 2,500 RPM, they kick in, and you get that burble that just amplifies as the revs increase. And then around about 6,000 RPM, that's when you hear the metallic rasp of the exhaust. Now my exhaust is stock, and I really like it. On the motorway, it's quiet as you want it to be. A bug on the inside of my windshield. Or put your foot down a bit and you can have it as loud as you want it to be as well. So this is what I like about this. There's no modes. There is a sport mode button, but that just brings the throttle response a bit more forwards on the pedal, and that's it. There's no sport mode on the drivetrain or anything like that. It's just your foot and a manual gearbox, and that is it. Some works going on. So yeah, in 2026, it does cost a lot to maintain and keep on the road if you're using it regularly, and I don't think you should buy these cars at low mileage and just stick them in the garage. It's a car to drive. Now I don't use it for commuting, but I do enjoy it, and it is out most weekends. I do long drives with it. I bought it at 62,000 miles. We're coming up to 168,000 miles now. So it has had a good life. It has been used, and 4 seats, 3 passenger seats, that gets used as often as I can. My nieces and nephews, they love it. Yeah, we're going to come to a straight now, so I'm going to do a 0 to 60, and then you can get a feel for what the sound is like climbing those revs. I'm going to put M-Track mode on, and I'm going to lift off from about 3,000 RPM. So hopefully the wind noise won't be too much this time round. So yeah, it is not as fast as the newer ones, but that's okay because it has character, which the newer ones don't have. Got a Clio behind us, really on my back. And the other thing I like about the E46, find a good one, the cabin is put together really well, and things like the buttons on the instrument cluster, all of these buttons and things in this era of BMW were picked by BMW with specific spring rates and contact, so they have a certain feel to them. Yeah, this Clio behind wants to play. So everything is put together nicely. The doors are heavy, they clunk and click as you would expect an old school door to do, so they're not lightweight and feathery like newer ones are. Analog dials, the steering wheel is the perfect thickness, and the weight is just there. Everything is just driver focused and balanced. That's one thing I didn't like about the E90 series there. The instrument cluster and the dashboard is a bit flat and a bit lifeless. This has curves. and the lines are just nicely proportioned and angled towards the driver. All the controls are within easy reach, and because they're physical buttons, you know exactly what they are at night. So there's no taking your eyes off the road. It's a lot more enjoyable with the windows down. Goes. If you've always wanted one, or if you've always been curious as a car enthusiast on what these things are like to drive and own, experience it, get one. Even if it's high mileage, even if it's got 10 owners, check it out. Just be aware that there are going to be costs that crop up if you use it regularly. They're not hugely expensive on their outset, as from parts point of view alone, but the labour time involved and some of those things which are specific to the S54, they can end up being costly, and all these little micro costs add up over time. But when you get those revs on, I'm in 4th gear now, 2000 RPM, just going to drop 3rd to 3000 RPM. 2nd, 4,000 RPM, and just, yeah, it's just once you get your foot on that throttle and those revs just increase, it makes all the costs worth it. This is why we kind of get these kinds of cars, to experience that engine, that note, and to feel it. And it is literally feeling it. You feel it through the entire cabin. As the revs get to 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, you feel it through your chest, and the seat belt pressing into your rib cage, it resonates through the seats, and you feel those revs in your chest as well. So this is what I mean. These kinds of cars it's an entire experience. It's not just a sense of speed and acceleration like the newer cars are and EVs are. It is the whole package. It's like going to cinema in those 4DX, and you feel it in your seat, the bass from the Atmos speakers and things. It is like that. And that's something you can't replicate with the newer cars. They're pumping in speaker sounds to synthesize engines. I saw a video the other day of the new electric M3 might have a V10 sound through the speakers. And it's just like, okay, you're not gonna get the same feel as this. So yeah, before all of these are off the road, either crashed or rotting away, or tacked away in someone's garage, experience them. If you know someone that's got one, ask them to take it out for a drive and sit in the passenger seat, because you still get all of that experience as a passenger as well. And that's why I take my friends, my family out as much as possible, because just seeing people have a good time and be happy with something like this, and the noise and sharing that experience, that's what these cars are all about. So do it. So I'm going to end this video right here, because I think I've talked enough and I've got a little bit of an open road ahead. I'm going to have to drop a few gears and just enjoy the rest of the drive now, so I'll leave you guys to it and catch you in the next video. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Enjoy it. Thank you.